Dad kicked me out of the family dinner and said, "You're selfish, your sister is better than you." I laughed out loud and said, "Nice, then I won't pay for her rent." And then Dad. Mom's 51st birthday should have been about her. But in our family, things never really go the way they should. We all gathered at my parents' house, me, my sister Amanda, Dad, a few cousins, a few aunts and uncles. Mom was happy at first, enjoying the attention. The food was good, the drinks were flowing, and for a while everything was fine. Just another family dinner. Then somehow, as it always did, the conversation turned to Amanda. Dad was the one who started it. He started talking about how well she was doing in college, how she was working so hard, how she had so much potential. He went on, as he always did, about how proud he was. Amanda ate it up, nodding along like she wasn't used to hearing this exact speech at every family gathering. The rest of us? We just sat there, because what could we say? Then Dad turned to me. "Are you helping your sister enough?" It caught me off guard. I didn't even know what he meant. Before I could answer, he turned to Amanda. "Does he help you?" Amanda hesitated, just for a second. "Yes, he is, but I actually wanted to ask him for something." Dad's eyes lit up. "Oh? What is it?" She looked at me. "I was thinking about getting a car. It would make things easier with school and work." Now I understood where this was going. Dad didn't even pause before looking right at me. "So? Are you going to help your sister?" I stared at him. "Are you serious? If she needs a car, why don't you buy it for her?" The air immediately changed. Dad put down his fork and leaned forward. "You really can't do that for your own sister?" I shook my head, trying to keep my cool. "I help her with enough already. If she wants a car, that's up to her." That was it. That was when he snapped. He started ranting, his voice rising with each sentence. About how Amanda had potential but wouldn't get anywhere without support. About how he was tired of spending half his income on her needs. About how he had to make sure she had everything because she was the golden child and he couldn't give her much himself. Then he looked right at me and said it. "She's better than you. She's going to be somebody great." I laughed. I couldn't help it. "Good. Then she can start paying for herself." Dad's face turned red. He stood up so quickly that his chair scraped the floor. "Get out!" Mom gasped. A few of my cousins shifted uncomfortably. Amanda sat frozen. Dad pointed to the door. "If you want to be selfish, you don't need to be here. Don't come back." I stood up, still laughing. "Fine. You think she's better than me? Then you can pay her rent." Dad didn't hesitate. "I will." I shook my head, turned and walked out. "Happy birthday, Mom." I went up to my room. I could still hear them talking downstairs, but I didn't care enough to listen. I knew how it would go. Mom would try to calm him down. The others would act as if nothing had happened. Amanda wouldn't say anything. The next morning, my phone rang. It was Amanda. I answered it, and before I could say a word, she was on me. Complaining. Telling me I was being ridiculous. Saying she hoped I was joking. She went on for 7 minutes. I didn't say a word. Then I just hung up. A few minutes later, Mom knocked on my door. Mom was standing in my doorway, arms folded, looking exhausted. She didn't come in right away, just stood there as if debating what to do. I didn't help her. I just sat on my bed, scrolling through my phone, waiting for whatever she had to say. She sighed. "Jeremy, you have to fix this." I didn't even look up. "Fix what?" She stepped in, her voice softer now. "Your father was angry. He didn't mean what he said." I let out a short laugh. "Oh, he meant it." Mom sat on the edge of my desk chair. "You know how he is. He gets carried away." I finally looked at her. "Mom, he told me to leave and never come back. And you want me to pretend that was just, what? A bad mood?" She rubbed her temples. "I just don't want this to get worse." "It already is worse," I said. "And you know what? It's okay. I'll make it easy for him. She gave me a tired look. Jeremy, don't do anything you're going to regret. I didn't answer, and after a few seconds she just sighed and left. I went about my day without really thinking about it. If Dad wanted me gone, fine. If Amanda wanted to cry about me not handing over cash, that was her problem. But later that night I got a text from Amanda. Amanda, did you take money out of the account? I grinned. Me, it's my money. I just decided to stop sharing it. Less than a minute later my phone rang. Amanda. I let it go to voicemail. A few seconds later, another text message. Amanda, Jeremy. I needed this. What is wrong with you? I didn't answer. Here's the thing. A while back, Dad convinced me to open a joint account with Amanda. He said it would be easier for me to help her with rent and school stuff. At first it was just for necessities. But over time, she started using it for everything. Rent, food, clothes, Uber rides, even random Amazon orders. And I let it slide. Until now. I transferred out every last dollar and closed the account. The next morning, my phone started buzzing nonstop. Calls from Dad. Calls from Amanda. I ignored them all. Then a text came. Amanda, I couldn't pay the rent. What do you want me to do? I stared at the message for a second before replying. Me? Asked Dad. He said he'd take care of it. Then I turned off my phone. Let them figure it out. The next morning I woke up to more missed calls. Dad, Amanda, even Mom. I didn't bother listening to the voicemails. I already knew what they were. I finally turned my phone back on around noon, and within minutes, another text message popped up. Amanda, you're unbelievable. Dad says he won't pay my rent. You put me in that situation. I actually laughed. Me? I put you in that situation? Her answer came quickly. Amanda, you know I was counting on that money. Now I'm screwed. You're really going to let me get evicted? I stared at the message for a moment. It was actually kind of impressive how she twisted it, like I was the villain for not wanting to pay her anymore. I typed back. Me sounds like a you problem. Good luck with that. Then I muted her notifications. I figured that was the end of it for now. I was wrong. Around 4 p.m., I heard the front door open downstairs. A second later, Mom called to me. Jeremy, your father's here. I sighed. Of course he was. I went downstairs, and sure enough, Dad was standing in the living room, arms crossed, looking pissed. Mom was standing off to the side, looking nervous. He didn't waste any time. Fix this. I leaned against the wall. Fix what? You know what. His voice was tight, controlled anger barely held in check. Amanda's rent is due. You're not leaving your sister out on the street. I tilted my head. Didn't you say you'd pay it? His face twitched. I thought you'd come to your senses before it came to that. Well, I didn't. For a second I thought he was going to lose it again. But then something changed in his expression. Instead of blowing up, he suddenly looked smug. I didn't like that. Fine, he said much too calmly. If you want to act like a selfish brat, I'll do it my way. I raised an eyebrow. And what does that mean? He didn't answer. He just turned and left. Mom sighed. Jeremy, why are you doing this? Doing what? Standing up for me? She shook her head. He's just upset. He dash. But I didn't listen anymore. I had a bad feeling. And I was right. Because 2 days later, I found out exactly what Dad meant when he said he'd handle things his way. I came home from work and saw something strange in the driveway. Dad's old car. Or at least what used to be Dad's old car. It had a "for sale" sign taped to the windshield. I felt my stomach drop. I loved that car. Not because I drove it, I hadn't driven it in years, but because it was my first car. I'd bought it as a teenager with my own money. Sure, I left it at their house when I moved out, but it was mine. And now he was selling it. Out of pure spite. I stormed in and Mom was in the kitchen. Where's Dad? She looked startled. He's not here. Why? I pointed outside. He's selling my car. She swallowed. Jeremy, you didn't use it. That's not the point. It's mine. She sighed. Your father. He thought since you were cutting ties you wouldn't mind. I laughed. Actually laughed. Oh, okay. So since I'm not funding Amanda's life, he can just take my stuff? She didn't answer. I went right back outside, tore the "for sale" sign off the windshield, and called Dad. He answered after 2 rings. Change your mind? I cut right to the chase. You're selling my car? There was a pause. Then he said, casually as always, It's been sitting here for years. You obviously don't care. I gripped the phone tighter. It's not yours to sell. You left it here. And that means you can sell it? You're out of the family now, aren't you? So why do you care what happens to something sitting in my driveway? That was it. That was the moment I realized how far he was willing to go. I took a deep breath. All right. If that's the way you want to play it. And then I hung up. He wanted to play it that way. Fine. Because I was about to make his life a whole lot harder. I wasn't going to let him sell my car. Not after everything. The next morning, I took the spare key, drove over to my parents' house, and pulled into the driveway like I owned the place. Because technically, I still did. The car was right where I left it, still covered in dust, but otherwise in perfect condition. The "for sale" sign was gone, probably taken down after my call, but I wasn't going to wait around to see if Dad put it back up. I unlocked the door, got in, and started the engine. It immediately roared to life. Good. I barely made it to the street before my phone started ringing. Dad. I didn't answer. Then the text came. Did you just steal from me? I laughed and answered. Nope. I just took back what's mine. A minute later my phone rang again. This time it was Amanda. I sighed and answered. What? Her voice was already at full volume. Dad's freaking out. What did you do? I pulled onto the highway. I took my car. You stole it. I rolled my eyes. Amanda, it was never his to sell. He was just trying to get money for my rent. I actually laughed at that. So now you admit he lied when he said he'd pay for it? Silence. I shook my head. Not my problem. She huffed. Why are you doing this? You know I needed that money. And you knew it wasn't yours. I shot back. You just didn't care. She went quiet again. I could hear her breathing, as if she was debating whether or not to say anything. Then, finally, she muttered, You didn't have to be so harsh. I gritted my teeth. Amanda, I have been helping you for years. And the one time I stop, suddenly I'm the bad guy. More silence. Then, in the weakest voice I'd ever heard from her, I don't know what to do. For a split second, I almost felt bad. Almost. Then I remembered that she and Dad had no problem using me like a personal ATM. Figure it out, I said. Then I hung up. When I got home, Mom was already calling. I let it go to voicemail. Then another text from Dad. If you're not going to return my car, don't bother coming back here. I grinned. Sounds good to me. But I wasn't done yet. Because if Dad wanted to play dirty, I could do worse. And the next thing I did? It was the move that really set everything on fire. Dad wanted to play games? Fine. I had one last card to play. See, there was one thing Dad had always counted on: our joint savings account. Not mine and Amanda's. Mine and his. Back when I was younger and starting to work, Dad convinced me to open a joint account with him. He said it was for security, in case I ever needed his help with money management. I didn't think much of it at the time. I didn't use it much anyway, just depositing extra cash from work. Over the years, it grew into a nice little safety net. I never really paid attention to the balance because I rarely touched it. Until now. After everything, I had a feeling I should check it out. So I logged on. and what I saw made my blood run cold. The balance was low, much lower than it should have been. Thousands of dollars missing. I dug through the transactions, scrolling back month by month. And there it was. Withdrawals, transfers, recurring payments. For Amanda. Rent, school fees, even some straight cash withdrawals with Dad's name on them. For years. I sat there staring at the screen, barely breathing. He'd been using my money. And he never told me. I clenched my jaw. All right, Dad. You wanted a war? I transferred out every last dollar. Then I closed the account. It didn't take long. That night, my phone exploded with calls. I didn't answer. Then came the texts. Dad, what the hell did you do? Mom, Jeremy, your father is losing it, please talk to him. Amanda, did you just screw Dad over? I ignored them all. Then, late at night, the doorbell rang. I knew who it was before I even looked. I opened the door to see Dad standing there, face flushed, fists clenched. What? Did? I crossed my arms. I took my money back. Just like I took my car back. His nostrils flared. That was our account. No, it was mine. And you emptied it without telling me. He took a step closer. That money helped your sister. I tilted my head. So? You said she was better than me, right? She'll be fine. For the first time, Dad didn't make an immediate comeback. He just stood there, breathing heavily. Then, more quietly, he said, Do you really want to burn this bridge? I looked him dead in the eye. You burned it first. Silence. Then he turned and walked away. I watched him go, waiting for the anger to hit me, for the guilt to creep in. But all I felt was relief. I was finally done. Or so I thought. Because what happened next? That was when things really went south. For the first time in years, I felt free. No more joint accounts. No more paying Amanda's way. No more Dad treating me like a walking wallet. I figured that was it. That I'd made my point and they'd finally leave me alone. I was so wrong. Because less than a week later, I got a frantic phone call from Mom. I almost didn't answer it, but something about the sheer number of missed calls made me give in. As soon as I answered, Mom's panicked voice came through. Jeremy, your dad's in trouble. I frowned. What do you mean, in trouble? She spoke quickly, like she was afraid I was going to hang up. He took out a loan. A big one. And now the bank is coming after him because he missed a payment. I sat up. What? Mom hesitated. Then, more quietly. He used your savings to cover it. I felt my stomach sink. I had assumed Dad was just skimming money off the top for Amanda. But a loan? And now that I'd taken my money, he had nothing to fall back on. How much? I asked. Mom's voice cracked. 30,000. I laughed. Really laughed. You're telling me Dad took out 30 grand and didn't tell me? Mom exhaled sharply. I know. He thought he could handle it, but dash. I cut her off. What does that have to do with me? She fell silent. And that told me everything. I gritted my teeth. You want me to fix it? Jeremy, he's desperate. If you don't dash. I hung up. Nope. Not my problem. But I should have known that Dad wasn't the type to go away quietly. Because 2 days later, I came home and found my stuff missing. I walked into my apartment, and something felt off. The living room looked emptier. And then I saw it. My TV was gone. So was my laptop. And when I ran to my bedroom, my watch collection, my game console, even some of my clothes, gone. As if someone had just helped themselves. My heart began to pound. My mind raced. There was no forced entry. No sign of a break-in. And then it hit me. Only 2 people had a spare key to my apartment. My mom. And my dad. I didn't even hesitate. I called my dad. He answered after 2 rings. What do you want? I didn't waste any time. Where are my things? A pause. Then, far too casually. What are you talking about? I clenched my jaw. Dad. Another pause. Then, if you're not going to help this family, I don't see why you need so many luxuries. I gripped the phone so tightly my fingers hurt. You stole from me. He didn't even deny it. You took everything from Amanda. You emptied the account. You left us in a mess. I just made things right. I shook with anger. Where is my stuff? He actually had the nerve to sneer. I pawned it. Needed the cash. I almost threw my phone across the room. He had actually done it. All because I had stopped letting him and Amanda use me. For a second, I couldn't even speak. Then, in the calmest voice I could manage, I said, You just made the biggest mistake of your life. And then I hung up. He thought I burned the bridge. He had no idea what was coming. I sat on my couch, still seething, staring at my empty living room. Dad had actually robbed me. And he thought he could get away with it. I picked up my phone and called a lawyer. Nothing crazy, just a consultation. I needed to know exactly what I could do. Because if Dad thought I was going to let this go, he was dead wrong. The lawyer made it easy. Since I had proof that the stolen items were mine, receipts, serial numbers, even pictures, it was a crime. And since he admitted it over the phone? Even better. Press charges, the lawyer said. Or threaten to. He'll fold. So I did. I called Dad again. This time I put him on speakerphone and recorded the whole thing. I talked to a lawyer, I said. If you don't get me back every last dime from that pawn shop, I'm going to press charges for theft. He actually laughed. You wouldn't do that. I smiled. I would. And guess what? I recorded you admitting it last time. You want to test me? Silence. Then, in a voice much less confident than before, he murmured, You're really going to put your own father in jail? I shrugged. You're the one who stole from me. So yes, I am. Another pause. Then he finally gave in. I'll get the money. You have 1 week. I hung up. And just like that, he finally came to his senses. 3 days later, he wired me every penny. But I was done. This family had sucked me dry for years, and I wasn't going to let them suck me in again. I put my apartment on the market. I found a new job in another state. And after 2 months, I was gone. I cut off contact. No texts. No phone calls. No nothing. And it was amazing. 3 months went by before I heard from anyone. Then, out of nowhere, Mom called. I almost ignored it. But curiosity got the better of me. The second I answered, she sighed. Jeremy, your sister's pregnant. I blinked. What? Mom sounded exhausted. Some freshman. He left her. She's alone. I sat back and let it sink in. Amanda, the golden child. The one who was so much better than me. The one Dad sacrificed everything for. Pregnant and abandoned. I grinned. Well, she's the best, right? Then I laughed and hung up. Update. So, it's been a few months since I went off the grid. Life has been great. No family drama, no guilt, just peace. Then, out of the blue, I get an email. From Amanda. Subject line? Hey, can we talk? I laughed before I even opened it. Turns out she wasn't just looking for a chat. She wanted money. Apparently, being a single mom is hard, who knew? And since Dad is broke and Mom can't do much, she thought maybe I could help her out. My favorite line? I know we've had our differences, but we're still family. Oh, now we're family? I didn't even reply. Just marked it as spam and moved on. I guess some people never learn. Faced with tears of joy,